Alright, Lancer, so yesterday we did upload our video going over who I think will be the upcoming 9th anniversary character based on the teaser trailer that we did get less than 48 hours ago. And if you haven't already watched that video, I do recommend checking it out. But essentially in that video, my main prediction is that it's most likely Kenpachi. But even then, I'm not 100% sold on that, mainly because I feel like it's way too obvious. And at the same time, I'm thinking maybe there's a bit more to this trailer that we haven't actually realized just yet, or more so that I haven't realized just yet. And to a certain extent, I feel like maybe this trailer is the most cryptic one. Or again, at the same time, maybe it's the most obvious one who the actual characters are. And that's why, yesterday I did ask you lads, let me know your theories. Who do you think is the anniversary character? Why do you think they're the anniversary character based on the 9th anniversary trailer? And with that, we did get over almost 300 comments. I would love, and I would try to get through all of them in today's video, so let's just jump straight into it and see what you like to have to say. First up, we have Mohammed saying Goku. I mean, you never know. You never know. Azevedo saying, I think it's going to be Benice or Benice, however you say their name. Because right now, we're all questioning who's it going to be. That would be really funny if that was the case. It's super funny in general that they included their name on the list to begin with. Like, chances are we're never even going to get them in-game, let alone an anniversary character, right? Mr. Big Basket is saying Soul King empowered Don Kanoji. You know me, I'm a fan of Don Kanoji. Loved his Safui version. Would have wished he was better. But unfortunately, I think for Don Kanoji in-game, that's his peak, right? In the story, that's his peak, and I would have loved if that character actually aged a tad bit better. But honestly, at this point, I would never say no to a Don Kanoji. Maybe not for anniversary. Korea here saying it's definitely Aaroniero because he is the 9th Espada and this is the 9th anniversary. Throwback to 3 years ago when we had the 6th anniversary logo and we made a little meme video turning it around. It's the 9th anniversary. I actually can't believe we're about to actually celebrate the 9th anniversary. Time flies by quick and we're literally here almost a month away from the actual 9th anniversary. Adam here is saying Kenpachi and Yuha for sure. I've seen a lot of people say that. It's definitely a weird one, right? If it was to be those two characters. Because remember, when it comes to the anniversary characters themselves, there has to be a theme for the characters. Or the characters that are paired together have to have some relation. Like in the past, we've seen characters like Ichigo and Uryu. They fought against each other, but they're also like very close friends. In the past, we had Ichigo versus Byakuya. We had Aizen, Okura, like big villains. Kenpachi and Yuha together doesn't make much sense, to be honest. I mean, I'd honestly be down for it, but I would love to see how and why Caleb would be able to make it make sense on why those two characters are together for an anniversary. Continuing on though, Zelion is saying, well, here it goes. I think we all know Kenpachi is going to be one of the characters, which is why Gremmy also has a chance, but personally, I don't see it happening. It could very well be Rukia, because you know, the 9th anniversary text cracks, and ice can crack. So yeah, my guess are Kenpachi and Rukia for round 1, and then round 2 could be Esmond and Gremmy, and maybe Driscoll. That's a crazy Driscoll sneak, I will be honest, but again, I'm down for Driscoll. Maybe, I don't know. Again, I do like the idea of round 1 being Soibas, and then round 2 could be the counterpart, the villains that are up against the Swordbears. Kind of how, like, I believe Dokkan does it, where, like, part 1 is the heroes, part 2 is the villains. I like the idea of that. We've never really had that as an anniversary, where part 2 kind of ties into part 1. Usually they're two separate things. So I wouldn't mind this year if part 1 and part 2 can actually make sense being together, celebrating the same anniversary, and Swordbears being part 1, Quincy's being part 2 would actually be really cool. Do I entirely see that happening? No, but I'd love to see it. Huncho Bull says, Kenny, if it ain't my goat Kenpachi, I'm gonna cry. And again, I feel like even though Kenpachi, like I said, is maybe the leading theory for this year's anniversary character, I still don't think it's actually him. Weirdly enough, right? And I generally feel like this year, when going into the teaser trailer, I feel like a lot of us are going to be surprised. Either, again, super surprised, or like it's not going to be that surprising and it's like super obvious and it's not going to be as cool. But again, we'll find out in less than a month's time, right? Tom here is saying Kenpachi, Sergeant, and Yuha. I'll be down for it. G is saying Rukia for sure, probably Gremmy. Rukia and Gremmy doesn't really make much sense here. Again, really down for an anniversary Rukia, but I haven't seen too many reasons why it could actually be her. Elite Trainer is saying it's 1,000,000% Yuha. If it isn't Yuha, I'm going to propose to my crush. Well, we're going to keep you to that. So when I see the character revealed and it isn't Yuha, I'm going to remember Elite Trainer has to then propose. People Ghetto is saying Yuha no doubt, Don Kanoji, Kid Kenpachi. I'll be down for a Kid Kenpachi, not for anniversary though. Sonic Fox is saying the trailer definitely gives us Kenpachi vs Gremmy vibes, so my prediction is definitely Kenny. It makes sense, plus we haven't gotten a new Kenpachi in over 2 years, and I feel like this Annie round 1 is going to be one character like 6th anniversary. I can definitely see being Kenpachi this year, 100%. I will propose to my crush. I don't think I really have one right now. If this year's anniversary character is one character, it just doesn't make sense to be the case. At this point in time, the only character that can really hold themselves on an anniversary by themselves is Yuha, and that's only if it's an original design. We can kind of give it the pass when it was, you know, 3rd anniversary Okiura, and also 6th anniversary Aizen. But this year, if we were to get one character Kenpachi, and it's just Shikai Kenpachi, that would be boring. Even if it was like an original form Kenpachi, I still wouldn't be like that super excited about it, mainly because we've already had an original design Kenpachi in the past. I 2000% believe we are getting at least more than 2 characters. I could maybe even see this year have 3 anniversary characters in part 1. Most likely 2, but definitely not 1. No way. Unless, again, it is actually a Yuha original design. Mazmoon is saying Esnot, Giselle, and Mask with a part 2, Rukia, Mayuri, and Renji. That, again, would be quite random. At least in part 1, I guess it could be Rukia, Mayuri, Renji. Because remember, on the list of characters that Caleb did provide us, Mask and Esnot are not featured there. Giselle, unironically, has a chance to be this year's anniversary character. I highly doubt it, but her name is on the list. Esnot and Mask, not the case. Jonas says this teaser portrays several fights in the anime, and I think is hinting at Yuha and Yugrim watching over the invasion arc. I really hope they get original designs though. Caleb did a pretty good job not to make it seem obvious that it's Yuha. Beyond Bankai, Zaraki, and Ruki would also be nice too. Remember, Beyond Bankai Kenpachi already exists, so if we are to get Kenpachi this year, it's definitely going to be a canon design. Likewise with Rukia. It's a bit of a sticky one with Rukia. She hasn't had an original design just yet. Nothing in this trailer for me personally hints at original design Rukia, but I'd still be down for an anniversary Rukia. And again, this one I actually do think is kind of interesting because I kind of had the similar thought too, right? Where we're seeing multiple fights happen in this trailer. Maybe it is actually Yuha and maybe even to a certain extent Yugrim witnessing these fights, and maybe that's hinting at them. That'd be a bit weird if that was the route Caleb did take. It'd be super big brain. Would love for that to be the case. Not too sure though. Hunter is saying Pineda. That's not happening. Pineda doesn't do anything in this part of the story. At the same time, he's also not on the character list. Momo is saying, I'm going to guess that part 1 will be Soriba's and part 2 will be Quincy's. In this case, Kenpachi, Ruki, and Byakuya. And then part 2 will be Gremmy, Esnot, and also Yuha. Would be hilarious though if it was Benice. Kenpachi, Rukia, again, maybe Byakuya would make sense. Maybe Renji makes more sense, truth be told. Gremmy, Esnot, and Yuha as a second part, I don't see happening. Maybe Gremmy, Esnot, and Mask. But again, if we are to get a new Yuha, keep this in mind, it has to be an original form Yuha. The Yuha that we just got literally less than 6 months ago for the end of the year is basically Season 2 Yuha. And to a certain extent, even Season 1, because he is using similar attacks. So the next Yuha that we do get in-game has to be original, or we're not going to get a Yuha for quite some time. Until the almighty Yuha happens in Season 3. Yatogami is saying that Kenpachi and Shinji. That's an interesting one. We have this lad saying Sergeant. Renisrat is saying, I don't care who it is. I just want it to be original forms. I don't dislike 1000 Year Blood War, but we have been getting 1000 Year Blood War the last couple of months, and we will get more in the future. But original forms are special that we don't get so often. I can kind of agree with that, right? Again, last year, right, my point of view on the anniversary being canon characters was that it felt more special than original forms because, you know, especially from like 2020 onwards, we just kept getting original forms. While they were really cool, and I'm not going to complain about them, by the end when my Yuri and Gin came out, I was kind of bored of the original forms, truth be told. They didn't feel as special anymore, and having an anniversary about 1000 Year Blood War felt more special because that was a rarity, right? At that time, last year, we weren't getting 1000 Year Blood War. Now it's a tad bit different. Now we are getting a bunch of 1000 Year Blood War banners, so I can understand the want and need to a certain extent to go back to originals because that would be more unique. We haven't had original designs since, again, Gin and Mayuri. And since last year did open up the door for 1000 Year Blood War anniversaries, it would be cool to then lead into 1000 Year Blood War original designs. And that's why, again, I really was hoping this year would be Anniversary Yuha with an original form. That could still happen. I'm still looking forward to a potential 1000 Year Blood War anniversary, even if it is canon. 1000 Year Blood War, after all, is my favorite arc. And the idea that we could potentially get a Shikai, Kenpachi, Bankai, Rukia, I mean, I've been waiting years for that. And to potentially have them get anniversary treatment with better artwork, better gameplay, better skills, make them overall better characters than just a normal end-of-month character. And also then be premium gets me more excited, right? But yeah, I definitely don't think this is a hot take. I think a lot of people do share the same sentiment that originals are cool, especially right now when we do get quite a lot of 1000 Year Blood War banners. They definitely are going to have to do a bit extra to make these characters stand out when compared to the other end-of-month 1000 Year Blood War banners that we have and are getting. Hakio then says, my pick for who it's going to be is Aizen, because we haven't got a new Aizen for some time now. There's been many times he has broken the ground due to his power, or Yuha because everything about him relates to the number 9. Again, with the whole number 9 situation, right, I was also one of the people that was leading that theory. It's too perfect for Yuha to be the 9th anniversary character, right? But again, in this trailer, nothing's really hinting at that. My leading theory for the 9th anniversary before we started the trailer was that it was going to be Yuha. Because, you know, 3 years ago, for 6th anniversary, it was one character. It was Aizen. It was a villain. 3 years before that, it was one character. It was Okura, another villain. There's kind of been a pattern. A non-confirmed pattern, to be fair. Maybe a coincidence that maybe every 3 years we get a big villain. In this case, Yuha would make sense. But we can't really look at that right now on why someone could be an anniversary character, because we have to only look at the trailer. We can't just look at, oh, number 9 equals Yuha, right? Because let's actually go back 3 years ago where we had the number 6 logo, which was Grimmjow's logo, and people were looking too deep into it saying, okay, this is going to be Grimmjow because this logo is the anniversary, but nothing in the trailer for the 6th anniversary hinted at a Grimmjow. So when it comes to trying to guess these characters, don't look outside of things, only look at the trailer. Continuing on though, he then goes to say these are the most popular characters, and I don't think it's going to be another anniversary Ichigo because we just got a Mugetsu, 9th anniversary version. I also agree, I don't see Ichigo happening this year, we just got him now. They're then going to say that I thought it could be Gremmy and Osakinpachi, but in my opinion, their fight is an anniversary level fight, and it just throws us off. I didn't say I have manga proof to back up Aizen and Yuha. If you want to see it, go to the 9th anniversary KR Discord under the Nimhakia. I might have to go quickly check that out. So this is the evidence on why it could potentially be an Aizen. I don't really see it. I'm looking like I don't really see it. This is also from the manga, core 3, 4 even. You know, we're clearly looking at the start of core 2, even though, to be fair, at this point when this does happen, I think the Red Skies will still be out. I think using manga material that has yet to happen in the anime doesn't make me think it is going to be Aizen, because if it is Aizen and it's technically a canon Aizen, I mean, what are we going to get? Like, again, we're getting anime characters, right, not manga characters. And in terms of a manga Aizen, we technically already gotten this version of Aizen when he does do Kurihitsugi. Harlem says, I was seriously believing it would be Shinji because of the slashes and the explosions, from when Shinji used his banker on the Soldat and also during the Bambi fight. But now I'm thinking it can be Yuha because the anniversary usually has an original design, and the number 9 is significant to him getting his powers, and I have a feeling they might make him a younger version of Yuha. Maybe I'm looking too much into it, but it's definitely going to be original design, so yeah. I also think it's going to be a one-character banner because Caleb is asking us to only guess one character, not multiple. Let's actually quickly address that in terms of the character numbers, because again, this happens every single year, right? So if you head over to the actual news itself, I'm currently looking on their website, you'll see here, right, that they say, watch the hint video and guess the 9th anniversary character, but they never say characters. There's no plural. This does not confirm only one character, because they never say characters. If we actually look at last year's teaser trailer, right, 8th anniversary, it was clearly hinting at 2 characters fighting each other, everything with the rain more so, and there was also even 2 pictures here, 2 prizes for 2 illustrations of an anniversary characters more so, and then you'll see here, they don't mention anniversary characters. They never use plural. They always say anniversary character. At the same time, again, we're still looking at the 8th anniversary teaser trailer here, right? They also and always have specified that you can only guess one character. That does not mean there's only one character, because again, 8th anniversary was clearly showing us there's 2 characters, but they only said you can guess one character. They simply say this because if you could guess multiple names, then you're guaranteed to get the character right, and therefore get an entry to win the potential anniversary giveaway. So yeah, just like the 8th anniversary, they're only saying you can guess one character, but that's just to stop people from having a guaranteed entry to the actual 9th anniversary giveaway, which is potentially going to be this mousepad, which, truth be told, looks really, really big. This is definitely not going to fit one character's artwork. 100% it's not. It's easily 2 or 3 characters. Even last year's prize, the 8th anniversary mouse mat, was also a lot smaller when compared to what we are seeing here. And that fit 2 characters, and it could even fit more. So I think we can say with confidence that 100% is going to be more than 1 character. 2 guaranteed, maybe even 3. The honored one then says, you are 100% because the confined Quincy King regained his post after 900 years. We've been through this. Again, there is so much land in the poem. This would be really cool fan service, but you can't look at this. You can't look at this for a reason of why it is Yuha, because nothing in the trailer is really saying this, right? Maybe if we had the quote in the trailer, that would have been way too obvious, by the way. But we have to look at what Caleb is giving us as hints. This theory could have been used on why it could have been Yuha prior to the trailer, but now the trailer is here. We have to look at the trailer and not look at stuff like this. The Conti 95 says, I think it has a decent chance to be Caleb's take on Yuha vs Kenny. It would be the most exciting for me and still feels unique, since we don't see them actually fight in the anime. Together, they excellently hold an anniversary. I can't really see it unless, again, they are originals, but I'd be down for it. Moreover, the version of Yuha that fights Kenpachi and also Yama is the same one in the summons, the Blue Blade. Not the actual blade that he fights with Ichibei, so this is more so Core 1 Yuha. So it would still technically be a new Yuha. I don't think it would feel fresh enough, truth be told. But they then go say, finally, that would open up the door for an amazing canon end of month, 1,000-year blood with Rukia vs Esno. And that's one thing to keep in mind, right? Because I know a lot of people do want it to be Rukia, myself included. Even if part 1 of the anniversary doesn't end up being Rukia, there's still a perfectly high chance that part 2 will be Esnot and Rukia. And I think it has to happen, right? Because again, Rukia vs Esnot is the biggest thing to come from core 2. It would be very weird to not have an anniversary celebrated around those two characters, whether it's part 1 or part 2. Melion says 100% sure that one of the anniversary characters will be Kenpachi. Compare the Kenpachi vs Gremmy fight with the trailer. Evan then says, to go along with what you said about Gremmy not being one, a wild guess is part 1 being Rukia and Kenpachi, while part 2 is Gremmy and Esnot. Maybe also Gwinnell Lee, which would be kind of funny they did actually include him. Maybe not as much Gwinnell, because you actually want him, but maybe throw in a holofied Tosha in there or something. Could also replace one with Renji and add Mask. It's a toss in the dark because the list they gave is just so weird and so limited that we only have like 3 possibilities. Dusky then says, I think it's going to be Kenpachi, Sergeant, and Shinji. Reasons for each are pretty simple. Kenpachi, the end where the ground breaks. I'm not implying it means him fighting Gremmy, but more so him breaking his limit and unlocking his Shikai. Plus, it would be nice fan service since we did get Yachu last year for part 2 the anniversary. Sergeant, the slashes. Usually Sergeant slashes have a white shine to them, and you can see that in the video. And then Shinji, the explosion. Plus, if Sergeant is here, then will we ever get a Bankai Shinji? Because it would make sense to pair those two characters together, right? Also, this round, one of the themes is the captains, who all showed something new in 1000 Year Blood War. I could potentially see that. I think it would be still a bit weird. But again, if you watched my video yesterday, there can be cases made for why it could be Shinji and Sergeant. Because it does look there are multiple fights going on. The final scene looks to be Kenpachi vs Gremmy. The other two are kind of up in the air. But it can only be so many fights. Only so many fights happen in the early part of Core 2. And with that, in a way, it can automatically include someone like Sergeant and also Shinji. Not so much Toshiro since he just got a 1000 Year Blood character. I know some people might say Toshiro, right? But I do not want to see Toshiro at all in this anniversary, I'll be honest. Cool character. Would have loved if his last version was holofied Bankai. But we literally just got a 1000 Year Blood Toshiro early this year. Getting another one for an anniversary, to me, it wouldn't feel as special, even if it is a cool form. Someone like Soifon, nothing in the trailer really screams her name, right? Same likewise with Mayuri. But Sergeant and Shinji haven't had their 1000 Year Blood characters just yet. And they also haven't had characters in quite some time, especially Sergeant. So, in particular, like, if it was to be these 3 characters, Kenny, Sergeant, and Shinji, besides Shinji getting, like, the random mid-month, like, last year or something in 2022, all 3 of these characters have not had a single character in years. So while to some people it might not be the most exciting thing, it will still somewhat feel fresh because these are really cool forms. Shikai Kenpachi, Bankai Sergeant, Bankai Shinji, and it's not like we're getting a character for an anniversary that just got a character like 3 months ago. We're literally talking years since some of these characters have had new characters. Xavier says Yuha and Hashwolf Ugrim would be really cool, since they're 2 of the most OP characters in the series and 2 of the main antagonists of the arc. I think they are anniversary worthy. I could definitely see that. I mean, even again, if you look at Morita, the voice actor of Ichigo's reaction, right? He kind of said that maybe they're saving Yuha for the 10th anniversary. While, of course, fan service-wise, we all would have loved Yuha for the 9th anniversary, given the theme. 10th anniversary, that is, only a year away, still a while to go, is a very even more important anniversary when compared to the 9th anniversary. And having maybe an original Yuha for then would be even more crazy, even if it doesn't fit the whole 9 theme that Yuha is going for. But an original form of Yuha and Hashwolf for 10th anniversary would be really cool. And that's, again, what Morita was also thinking. Maybe they're saving Yuha for the 10th anniversary. Maybe they're going to prelude the 10th anniversary by giving us an anniversary Ugrim. Maybe? I don't know. Dude, we're all looking at it wrong. We're absolutely getting a kid Kenpachi that transforms into the Kenpachi that fights Gremmy. And a Gremmy that starts as a kid and transforms into a brain. I do want to say, though, if we ever do get a Gremmy, it's not going to happen. When he dies, it'd be really cool if he just, like, transforms into a brain. Not really transforms, but, like, his death animation is just him becoming the brain. Kind of similar to how Yamamoto, every 1000 Year Blood Yamamoto, when they die, they actually die standing up, which is really cool fan service, in my opinion. Buffcon, I would love for a Buffcon as a free character. That'd be really, really cool. Razor, I'd love the idea of an anniversary Kenpachi, but only with Rukia on the banner. Because an anniversary Gremmy would actually be the biggest throw from Caleb, at least in part 1. Part 2, yeah, we could get that, right? I agree. Again, I don't see Gremmy. I generally do not see Gremmy. In my opinion, I think it'd just be weird to get a fight for part 1 of the anniversary. Like, there's no theme to that. It's just a fight. Even last year, which was a canon character. Like, the 2 canon anniversaries that we have gotten thus far, assuming this year is also canon. Part 1 was Ichigo's biggest forms. Part 2, White and Ichigo never interact, so it still felt special. White was a new character, and Ichigo was a character that we only got because of the anniversary. Like, that version of Ichigo where he unlocks his true powers was never going to happen outside of a special anniversary like the 8th anniversary. And again, the context, the theme behind the 8th anniversary was the origin of Ichigo's powers, the origin of Blades. Part 1 being Kenpachi and Gremmy, especially not in original designs, would just be, it's just an end of month banner. It's just a banner. It's just a fight. There's no theme, and I don't think it would feel as special because, one, technically they're both remakes. I mean, technically, we've never actually got a Kenpachi Shikai that, you know, cuts open the meteor, so that will feel new. And I'm still looking forward to a Gremmy. I don't want to downplay Gremmy's, like, cool factor. He is a cool Quincy, but not for an anniversary. Just2 says, Kenny is the most likely option. I see why people won't want Gremmy with him, but Kenny as a character can hold the anniversary. Also, part 2 will most likely be Ruki and Esnot, and ending the year with Bankai Senjumaru, all 3 hype moments from Core 2. Again, still, I don't know if Kenny can hold an anniversary if he's with Gremmy. I just don't see it. But I do agree that part 2 could be Ruki and Esnot, and I also do agree that Bankai Senjumaru is most likely the end of year. That's my guess for the end of year banner, by the way. 6 months in advance. I also do think we might be getting Bankai Senjumaru for the end of the year. Saif says there's frost on the buildings, making it either Rukia or Toshiro. Leaning towards Rukia, and I think they teased part 2 of the anniversary with the second half being Kenpachi and Gremmy, plus maybe a Yachiru. Maybe I haven't seen it too much in my comment section, but I have seen it quite thrown around a lot, to be fair. Lads, the frost in the buildings is not hinting at Ruki or Toshiro. The frost in the buildings is just from the Silburn, like the Shadow Realm. That's where the Quincies are at. The ice from the buildings are not from someone like Toshiro and also Rukia, right? That was just naturally there when the Serete transformed into this, you know, massive red dome. So no, the ice in the trailer does not hint at Rukia or Toshiro. Again, maybe during the transition to that final scene, you can see a bit of lingering ice. It also just could be mist. It also just could be the transitioning effect. But there's definitely nothing in this trailer that is hinting at Rukia and Toshiro based on just ice alone. Vasto says Kenpachi probably. In Killer's video with Morita, they were pretty adamant that the ground cracking was a hint. I don't think they were pretty adamant about it. Like, they didn't specify that specifically. It was more so Morita pointed it out, so they spent time talking about it, right? And to be fair, in the entire trailer, let's be honest, the groundbreaking is the most memorable part. That's the one part everyone remembered, right? Because before that, it's just like slashes going on. You can't really make out what you're seeing on that first 11-second initial watch through, but the groundbreaking is quite noteworthy. Then I'm going to say, and Gremmy is the only one who does that in the Red Sky, though it is the 9th anniversary, so it could be Yuha, but I hope it's another Beyond Volstanic like the 7th anniversary. I'd be down for Beyond Volstanic. Would I want Gremmy to be the very first one? I mean, I'd be down for it, but again, it'd be weird because we haven't had a Gremmy. At least not a new one, right? With Beyond Bankai, that was fine because we've already had many captains in the past, multiple versions of these characters. Getting Beyond Volstanic characters before we even get their Volstanic in-game. Remind you, we haven't had a single Volstanic character in-game at all, besides Killgate. And I'm talking strictly anime characters, right? We've had past manga characters in their Volstanic forms. We're not counting those. Sajin says, you are power, Kenpachi tech, special move is hot, you're welcome. That'd be funny if you're right. I'll be down for it. Korea then says, I think it actually could be Rukia, because the last scene of the floor cracking, it was referring to her being under 273 degrees Celsius. Does she create earthquakes? I might have to rewatch the anime. Most of the fight with Esnot, I don't recall Rukia ever breaking the floor. Even her Bankai doesn't really break the floor. I don't think her Bankai even freezes the buildings. They were already kind of frozen over to begin with. But I don't recall, in particular, anyone really causing earthquakes besides basically Gremmy breaking the floor. But again, the way, if you watched my yesterday's video, the way Gremmy breaks the floor is not like how it is in the trailer, right? It kind of just spawns in. Because he imagined it. He just imagined the floor split apart. In the trailer, it looks like it was more forcefully broken apart. And again, I don't recall anyone really ever doing that in Core 2 1000 Blood War, besides, again, Gremmy imagining it. Malik says, like you said, it could be pointing at different characters. The ones that come to mind, Kenpachi, Gremmy, and Rukia. Grimmy VA says, I think this is a perfect opportunity for us to get an original design, non-canon Yuha, or we might as well get, like, original form Quincy's. I agree. Would be really, really cool. Scenic Fire says, because of the specific location in the trailer as well as the music, I'm going to guess Rukia. Also, at the end of the trailer, the text shutters, which also could hint at how the ice breaks apart. If not Rukia, then probably Zuraki. I do hope it's a game original design though, and they're just using this setting. Again, I think it's going to be canon, but this could potentially happen. Again, if you watch the 5th anniversary trailer, the setting was Ichigo vs Byakuya at the Sokuku Hill, and then out of nowhere they just showed the original form. So there's still a chance it could be original. I think it's going to be canon though. Asad then says it's Big Ken-chan for sure. The ground splitting is exactly the same as when Gremmy split open the arena and threw Kenpachi and Yachiru inside. And those that are saying it's Rukia because everything is frozen, everywhere was frozen in Core 2 due to the Shadow City. Although it could still be Yuha because every 3rd year we always get a villain as an anniversary character. Even though again we're on the 9th anniversary, I think it's still way too early to like look at patterns in past anniversaries. It really just could be coincidence. But continuing on, we then have Senna is more of Kenpachi's theme. That's one thing I have heard, to be fair. Again, if you haven't already heard the trailer, there is an OST. It sounds very similar to the Senna OST. Despite it being called Senna's OST, we have heard it multiple times in the original Bleach anime. And the funny thing is, right, I've heard cases of why it could be Rukia because I've heard that it's actually her OST. And then just like what this lad is about to say too, I also heard people say it's used quite often for Kenpachi as well. So regardless of the trailer, like one of the leading theories for this year's anniversary character anyway, even disregarding the music, was probably Rukia and or Kenpachi. And then it's kind of funny, this OST maybe might be hinting at someone, but you really can't say for certain if it is Kenpachi or Rukia because both characters have used that OST. Let's see what they have to say though. Like I said, Senna is more Kenpachi's theme. When the OSTs were available on YouTube, you'd be seeing people call this Kenpachi's theme. And if you watch Kenpachi clips, a lot of them play Senna. But also they used it for Rukia a lot, especially when she uses Hakuren, so it could be either or. The trailer leans more towards Rukia. The ground opening up is clearly still in the icy buildings and not the place where Kenpachi fought. That's one thing I did mention in yesterday's video. If Caleb went out their way to not really give us any hints in terms of text or quotes or themes, we have to take things at face value, and the only context clues are what we are seeing on screen, and it'd be very weird for Caleb to not make the floor the exact same as what we see in the Kenpachi fight if that's what they were implying. While yes, they don't have any building in the background, which maybe does imply this scene is in the sky like Kenpachi vs Gremmy's arena, the floor is more similar to the start of the trailer than more so what we see with Kenpachi and Gremmy's arena that Gremmy does create. Then say Rukia is popular enough to be a solo character, literally top 1 in every poll. Again, I agree with that. That's why it's a shocker that Rukia hasn't had an anniversary character just yet. I don't think Bankai Rukia could hold an anniversary by herself, to be fair. Maybe it was an original design, sure. But like, if we were to get Bankai Rukia, I would love for her to be paired with Esnot, which isn't going to happen this year, or someone like Renji. The soundtrack, though, makes it seem like it's not Yuha, since he has nothing to do with Senna. But ignoring that, the trailer could still be Yuha. And remember, right, maybe we are looking too much into the OST itself, because who actually knows what the soundtrack is going to sound like when we actually hear the full trailer? Because, you know, if you look at last year's trailer, and even 7th anniversary, to a certain extent, even 6th anniversary, right, almost every year, basically, when this trailer actually gets revealed and we hear the OST, it always starts off very slow, and then it just drops out of nowhere. Like, the 8th anniversary, who expected that to be, like, heavy metal? Who expected the 7th anniversary trailer to have an absolute banger? The same could be with this, right? It might start off with a violin theme very similar to Sanna's theme, but then when the drop happens, it might become dubstep or something. I don't know. Continuing on though, the ground opening up could be Yuha using Yamamoto's Bankai Self Attack, which opens up the ground and summons zombies. That would be really cool. I've seen, I think, a few people say that maybe it's Yuha using Zanko no Tachi. If Caleb ever did go down the route of making original Yuha, I would love to see him use Zanko no Tachi, I will say. Alternatively though, in Core 3, Yuha will be lifting buildings in the Royal Palace. This could be what that is showing. Maybe. Nishan says, I want to say it'll be a war power theme with major players in the war arc. That'll be a really cool anniversary, but I don't think it would work in this case, given that, again, we just got an Ichigo, and if we were to get another 1000 Super Ichigo for this anniversary, what could they do? We've already gotten 2 true Shikais. They can't go further in the anime. Kenpachi, again, could happen, but we also recently just got a Ichibe. We could get a Bankai Yama. Most people wouldn't be, like, maybe super excited for that, but I'd be down for it. Actually, Yama wasn't even part of the 5. What am I talking about? But Kisuke, again, hasn't done anything just yet. They can't make him a character until Core 4. And then Aizen, again, likewise, hasn't done anything just yet. They can't really make a character out of him as of right now. Maybe in the future, though. Random account says, the merch that you can guess or winning only says character. It's not plural, so maybe that means only one character. We've already addressed that. That's not the case. They say that every year. I'd love a Ruki, Renji banner, but I'm sticking with one character guess. Definitely give me more than one. With the cracked 9th anniversary design, my first guess would be Kenpachi, if not perhaps Sergeant. One thing I will say about the crack happening, I don't think anyone's actually connected the two. Maybe I'm stretching it here. Because again, an anniversary Sergeant would be quite weird, but you know, when Sergeant lost his powers, more so when Tenken exploded, he kind of cracked, so maybe it's that. It'd be cool though if it was Sergeant. His moment in 1000 Super was awesome. I agree. Really, really cool moment. I can't wait to get a human form Sergeant in game, especially if he's an SP character. But likewise, I also don't see him carrying the anniversary by himself. Would maybe make sense to pair him with Bambietta, but of course, Bambietta is getting a swimsuit character next week. Kenpachi and Rukia, also my goal. Appreciate it, lad. Love you too. Wildcard, random guest is Giselle hugging zombie Bambietta with the model looking like Azashiro. That would be really cool. Again, would love to get a Giselle with zombie Bambietta as her first character, but not for the anniversary. Not for the anniversary. I think it'll be Kenpachi and Rukia for sure. Again, I'd be down for it. It's Rukia. It's covered in ice. Again, we already addressed that. And the same soundtrack as when Rukia does use Tsukishiro. Again, doesn't necessarily confirm that. Also could be the case for Kenpachi as well. With a bonjour from France, how you doing, lad? Eisen, what if Yuha takes him with the Quincy? So I think he's referring to when Yuha goes to Eisen at the start of season 1. Around episode 6, I believe, during the first invasion, and tries to ask Eisen to join the Quincy army. That would be cool. Don't see it happening this year, but I'd be down for that in the future. Manga Man says, Yuha. It could be the blue sword slashing across the screen, but don't forget it's possible that this could be an original anniversary character too. Maybe an alt version of where Rukia fights Yuha. Maybe. If you look closely at the very back, I don't think that final shot is in the sky. Okay. I'm listening. I think that's actually the rubble from the buildings at the start of the trailer. I can potentially agree with that. I don't know what this means, but my guess is going to be Rukia since Kenpachi seems too straightforward. And that's, again, the one thing that I'm kind of against Kenpachi being an anime character. I think it's too obvious. If it's strictly Kenpachi, again, it could be multiple characters. Speaking of Kenpachi, Nexus's Kenpachi is guaranteed. There's literally a shot of him breaking out of the ground in this trailer. As for the other one, I'd say Gremmy. With our Prodigy saying Kenny hands down. Sharknado saying it's going to be Bankai Rukia, True Bankai Renji, and Shikai Kenpachi, the 3 biggest power-ups in the season, and part 2 could be their opponents. I'm down for that. I really am down for that. Kenpachi and Gremmy, since Bugetsu technically is an anniversary character, he won't be the 9th anniversary character. I agree with that. Don't agree with it being Gremmy though. We have a couple Kenpachis, maybe Giselle, probably not. Scope is then saying, I might be crazy, but I think it might be 4 characters since there were 4 beams and slashes. It could be Renji, Masked Masculine. It won't be Mask since he wasn't in the character prediction list that Caleb did provide us. Kenpachi and Gremmy since they all match the groundbreaking. And I could also see it being Sergeant, but it wouldn't feel right if Bambietta is in the same banner. And we know, again, Bambietta isn't going to get a character since we are getting one literally next week. It also could be Rukia since the breaking could be referencing her ice breaking, which is true. But to be fair, the way the logo does break, it doesn't seem like it's cracking like you would expect with ice cracking. It more so looks like someone broke it by punching it really hard. Yuha or Rukia. Kenpachi, Rukia, and Renji Part 2, Gremmy as not Mask. I'd be down for that. I think a lot of people have the same opinion. It is really hard to tell the characters from this teaser alone. For me, it's most likely Kenpachi and Gremmy, but I really want to believe we'll get Sorbus for Part 1 and Quincy for Part 2. Seems like a lot of people have the same opinion, right? I do like the idea of it. I really do. Also, there is a chance for Yuha to receive his first anniversary character. If it's not this year, it's definitely next year. This lad says, I feel like round 1 is going to be a new Bankai, Rukia, and Renji, potentially. Froggy says, looking at the trailer closely, I generally believe it might be Bankai Shinji and Vo standing Bambietta. That's one thing I haven't seen anyone mention. I do want to touch on that. The slashes that we do see, even the arrows, they are going upside down. That's interesting, right? Why is someone shooting and slashing upwards? And it looks like it is even exploding at the top too. So could be hinting at Bambietta, but it's weird, right? Because we're getting Bambietta next week. I don't see us getting 2 Bambiettas in the course of a month. If they were going to do an anniversary Bambietta for this end of month swimsuit banner, Bambietta should not be included. It should have been Giselle or Little Toto too. But that could be leading to Shinji. Who actually knows, right? There are upside down slashes and arrows potentially happening, explosions. So maybe. Fallout says, I'm calling human form Sergeant. Those blue explosions are very similar to Bambietta's bombs. I do agree. And the last scene with the cracks, I'm guessing Dangai Joe. That's true. I have seen some people actually say, to be fair, that the ground exploding, maybe that's Sergeant's, Bankai Dangai Joe coming out of the floor. In the anime, again, it doesn't really show us how he kind of happened to form. I think he just kind of spawned in. It'd be cool, though, if that was the case. Again, Human Sergeant is hype. If that does happen, I better not see. Maybe we will see people complain about, a Human Sergeant for Annie, but Human Sergeant is really, really cool. Super, super hype. One of the best moments in Core 2. Super emotional moment, too. Man, I was tearing up. And Human Sergeant is definitely at the top of my list. At least top 3, top 5 for most hype characters from 1000 Year Blood War. Then we have Aizen, 100%, Rukia Bankai, with the crack, slash, and background ice and red. It has to be Kenpachi. He also has some rival names in the list, in this case, Ichigo, Gremmy, Yuha, Benice. I wanted to be Rukia anniversary because of the ice, but with the teaser hint, it might be Kenpachi, but I'll be surprised if it is Yuha because the 9th theme. And the background Vandenreich building with Morito sharing his guess might be Yugrim. My end pick will be Kenpachi. It's 9 years, give us an anniversary Rukia already. Possibilities that I have heard and read are Sternra to Ichigo as an original. That's 100% not happening. An original Yuha with canon abilities but new moveset, potentially. Kenpachi and Gremmy, potentially. My theory, Kenpachi, Gremmy, and also Yuha as a triple banner. Again, can't see happening, right? Can't see happening because, if we are to get an anniversary Yuha, it has to be in original form because there's nothing they can do for Yuha right now. We've already gotten a canon Yuha. So if they were to do a Yuha Gremmy Kenny, it'd be weird. Maybe it would work. We saw, this most recent banner, right? Could they do an original Yuha and then do a canon Gremmy and Kenpachi? I'd be down for it. It'd be weird, but then again, so is this current banner. They're calling it a 9th anniversary banner. It's baited people into thinking it's the 9th anniversary banner. And then in that banner, we have a premium Mugetsu, and then we have 2 seasonal characters. It's weird. Maybe they could do something like that for the anniversary. I don't think so, but I'd be down for it. It'd be cool. It's going to be Kenpachi in a 1-character banner. Even Caleb asks Morito to guess 1 character. Again, lads, just because Caleb are asking to guess 1 character does not mean it's only 1 character, right? That's like the whole point is just to guess 1 character, not guess the entire banner. That being said, he's definitely going to be a technique ranged story bar with 1 more killer. Kenpachi being ranged would be very weird. I don't see Kenpachi being ranged. Have we ever gotten a ranged Kenpachi? I don't think so. Definitely see this year's anniversary character being a technique character. And for killers, I could probably see Soriba, maybe Aranka too. Maybe Quincy, maybe not, because we have Ichibe. But again, yeah, we're definitely getting more than 1 character, no way. Lethal Ghosts, I feel like it may be one of these 2. Either a Yugrim and Yuha. Yugrim from the slashes that was seen are similar to the cracks that appear in the shield that he does do with, when he fought Uryu. And then Yuha because it's the 9th year, but this may be the most far-fetched theory. Yeah, again, I kind of agree with the Yuha being a far-fetched theory. It'd be cool, but again, we only have to look at the trailer, right? Or a Kenpachi Gremmy, but I also feel like it might be hinting at Bambi since the explosions are at the beginning. I've seen some people say that the explosion at the start could be also hinting at Gremmy because he does technically do that with Kenpachi, but I don't think that to be the case. I'm leaning towards Kenpachi and Yuha. Seen a few people say that. I'm down for it. We didn't see much of them against each other in Core 1, apart from the competition and the result. They kind of skipped over that fight, right? And I believe it was confirmed that the Yuha that Kenpachi did fight was not the fake Yuha. It was the real one. And then somewhere between Kenpachi being defeated, I believe so, is when they switched out with the fake Yuha. So maybe this could be a Core 2 counterparts having a rematch of sorts, similar to how we had a White and Ichigo. I don't think the teaser last year was necessarily showing that it was White fighting Ichigo. I think it was more so just saying that there was a fight happening at the top of a building in the rain at dark. It was confirming everything with the rain. White seemed the most likely outcome. And I think the hint of Ichigo at the end was more so the X at the end, signifying the Get a Good Juji show. Aki is saying, true vote standing one of the Quincy's. I'll be down for it. Don't see that happening right now, though. Sam is saying, my first guess is Yuha. 9th anniversary. Trailer shows both slashes and reishi arrows, the Vandenreich. But my second guess, for as weird as it might sound, is Renji. Don't ask me why, but the trailer reminded me when he fought against Master Masculine. Out of all the battles shown in the anime so far, he's the most logical option. And it has been a while since we have had a new Renji. That's also true. Aaron is going to be confirmed 1 character only. It's not confirmed. Again, Caleb never used plural. They only always have made you guess 1 character. Nothing is confirmed, right? Likewise, at the same time, 2 characters is not confirmed, but it's very likely to be 2 characters. Toshiro and the Miracle, well, Gerard's not actually in the list, and again, Toshiro wouldn't make sense here. He's already gotten a character too. This lad said it's going to be Bankai Rukia as a playable character and not a soul bomb. That'd be interesting. And that's also one thing to keep in mind before we read the rest of this, right? When we do get a Bankai Rukia, whether it is this year's anniversary character or in the future, maybe part 2, maybe near the end of the year, I don't know. Whenever we do get a Bankai Rukia, understand, chances are she's not obviously going to be in her Bankai besides it being the soul bomb. She's not going to be a transforming character because, again, it wouldn't make sense to be so, right? And by default, even though it's going to be hype, might be less exciting because technically we already have a playable Bankai Rukia in-game, the 10 years later version, but remember, characters like this are canon, right? Caleb are going to make them as true as they possibly can. In this case, Rukia does not use her Bankai, cannot move around in it, so likewise with this character, whenever we do get a Bankai Rukia, she will not be moving around in her Bankai. It will strictly just be seen in the Soul Bomb. Now, with that said, I've been talking quite a bit. Gonna have a little intermediate break right now. It'll be a little shortcut for you lads, but I'm gonna rest my voice and also take a sup of water because I think I've been talking for like an hour now. At this point in time, if you made it to this part of the video, I appreciate you. Much love for sticking around. We're gonna continue on. I think at this point, I'm dead set to try and read every single comment here. Usually we can't do that, but in this case, since anniversary, we'll make it special. This video, for all we know, might end up being 2 hours long. All right then, so I had a little break. Let's continue on. So he thinks Bankai Rukia is going to be playable, not just as a soul bomb, and the reason why they do say that is because everywhere is covered in ice and frost. It's not like Toshiro's attacks make ice sculptures everywhere, but Rukia is where she frees everything around her. Again, not the case. The buildings were just naturally frozen to begin with. That's just what it was like in this area. So nothing about the scenery in terms of the buildings are hinting at Rukia besides the fact that she does fight there, right? She's not the reason why these buildings are frozen. This is my hope, though, for her to be finally be given the respect she deserves as the second MC. I agree with that, though. I agree with that. I still think it's wild that people think Rukia is not anniversary level, and to a certain extent, maybe Caleb agree with you, because for some reason she has another character. She's literally the second main character. If anything, she deserves an anniversary character more than Okiura, more than Aizen, more than Yuha, more than Odayu, more than any character in the series, up there with Ichigo. And that's not even like a bias, that's just like objectively speaking, she's the second main character. And Caleb have been doing her quite dirty as of late, but maybe this year could be the year we do get a Bankai Rukia, who actually knows. The other character though is Kenpachi due to them fighting, and the floor we see at the end is, splitting up. It's also very similar to the exterior where Gremmy does do the meteor, etc. These are his two predictions. I mainly hope we get a Rukia since she is my favorite character and deserves an anniversary character, whether it's an original or full Bankai State design. Xander here has a lot to say, so let's go ahead and read it. Personally, the only character on there that I think could lead a solo anniversary is Yuha. I agree with that. It would fit, and I like a lot of other people's ideas about all the nines, but I doubt we'll have just one character. We are missing a lot of hype scenes from Core 2, i.e. Kenpachi vs. Gremmy. Scratch that, Kenpachi cakewalking Gremmy, Rukia going Bankai, so I wouldn't be surprised if this banner was something that I believe was listed in here. True Powers Awakened. So it would be Shikai Kenpachi, Bankai Rukia, Bankai Renji. All three are popular characters, but none of them could be reasonably lead an anniversary on their own. That's kind of true. Because at the end of the day, Caleb need to do something really hype for anniversaries, as it is one of the biggest times for revenue and drawing in new players to his game. If we had been further into 1000 Year Blood War, I would have said there was more options, or if Mugetsu wasn't dropped, because I was expecting a 4-ring Bankai Ichigo as the anniversary character, because you can sell with any other character. Since Ichigo again is the MC, I kind of agree with that, by the way. I also thought if we were to get Ichigo for part 2 or part 1 this year and it wasn't going to be original designs, it would have to have been Bankai Ichigo. But again, because we've got Mugetsu right now, don't see it happening this time. But either way, his guess is Kenpachi, Bankai Rukia, and Bankai Renji. Or, some crazy Yuha with the Almighty. Of course, they could do some type of spoiler character like Adult Toshiro. That would also be hype, but I don't see them jumping to manga stuff right now. Says, I feel like this teaser has to do something with Shinji, since in the start you can see something like Quincy powers shooting everywhere. Maybe that's something to do with his Bankai. If not, then Kenny could be it, or maybe it'll be a plot twist and it's going to be a 4-character banner. Maybe Kenny vs. Gremmy and Sergeant vs. Bambi. I'll be down for our first ever 4-character part 1. Again, I don't see Bambi being there. Background gives me Rukia vibes. To be fair, you can say that about every character that fights in Core 2. Ichigo, Bankai, and Yuha. And I think third character will be Rukia. Don't see us getting an Ichigo. Rukia this year. I was hoping it'd be her last year. The trailer reminded me more of the full-bring Bankai Ichigo. This one's kind of interesting, I guess. Versus Yuha. Also, with it being the 9th anniversary, but considering the red sky and that we've gotten multiple Ichigos and a new Yuha, it would probably be something else. I'm thinking Kenpachi from his fight with Gremmy. The platforms look like a Gremmy stage, and the floor splitting is literally what Gremmy does when fighting Kenpachi. I also could see it being Rukia and Renji along with him. All three have massive moments in the anime, and all three could use up-to-date canon characters. The fighting itself also does really like as a Quincy vs Shinigami attack, not just sword slashes but also arrows. So I feel like it has to be someone who has had fights in this season. I kind of agree with that. This lad says I think it'll be a 4-character banner with Shikai Kenpachi, Gremmy, Bankai Rukia, and Tata Force as not. Would love that for a part 1, but again, as not is not part of the list, so this is not happening. Not as not at least. Rukia still could, not as not. Renji? Doesn't sound like you want it to be Renji. But continuing on, we have many people are saying Kenpachi from the ground breaking, but here's my theory. The white slashes don't seem to be from anywhere in the Kenpachi and Gremmy fight, I'm pretty sure. I agree. But remember, this could also be hinting at maybe multiple fights, right? Maybe not just one fight for the entire trailer. So I'm leaning more so to Rukia. For the second scene where the ground shatters, this does feel like Kenpachi here. However, it's very ambiguous and doesn't narrow it down that much more than the first one. In other words, second scene could be anyone. I kind of agree. I don't think it's dead set Kenpachi. I feel like Kenpachi's maybe the leading theory right now on that second part. But then again, hypothetically, right, the reason why we do think it's Kenpachi, and this is one of my problems with this trailer, is like, a lot of the text that we are seeing, I'm getting vibes that it's the Quincy's doing it. And hypothetically, if this trailer was hinting at Kenpachi, isn't it weird that they're showing an attack that Gremmy does, but then it's not going to be Gremmy? Like, surely if they were hinting at Kenpachi here, not necessarily saying they aren't already doing that, but if they are hinting at Kenpachi, why aren't they showing something that Kenpachi does? I don't know. Food for thought. The ground splitting generally could be anyone, but again, my first thought at the same time, most people's too, was again Kenpachi and Gremmy. This letter's first of interest and mystery. Secondly, my prediction was originally and still is Yuha. The Mugetsu we just received ties to Yuha's Almighty. And third, and finally, the other prediction of mine is Kenpachi Zaraki re-watched his battle with Gremmy, and maybe 79% of this teaser matches their battle. I might have to rewatch the episode too. I think besides the final scene, nothing really hints at Kenpachi and Gremmy, but who actually knows? This lad says, I'm guessing Rukia over Kenpachi simply because he has gotten a couple true Shikai versions already. To be fair, his 1,000-year-old character in-game thus far is more so Bankai Kenpachi, right? While yes, he is a transforming and he does use Shikai, it's more so Kenpachi from the later part of the story, core 3/4. And the other Shikai Kenpachi that we do have is from Calm Fury Road. We technically have not gotten a Kenpachi from the fight with Gremmy when he first activated Shikai. At the same time, I mean, even though we have gotten a few characters, we're talking like 4 years ago, 5-6 years ago. Like, it's been long enough. We can get another Kenpachi, right? So I disagree that it would be repetitive. Plus, at the same time, Kenpachi as a character hasn't had a character in 2 years. It's far from repetitive. Rukia, if anything, she's gotten more characters. I still think it could and should be her. But as this lad does say, I feel like Rukia does deserve it, and they could do something really cool if they decide to go with an original design. Also, I was wondering, what was your Discord? Because I was hoping you could send me the past anniversary trailers. Right, let me just respond to that. Continuing on. This lad thinks it's Ichigo, Oryu, and of course Giselle. Okay. This might be Sturmiter v. Gwinnell? Nah, there's no way. Big is saying the ground cracking up during Season 2, Episode 7 when Gremmy created the stage to fight on. Then the ice has to be Rukia when she uses her Bankai to fight Esnot, so it has to be Kenpachi or Rukia. 9th anniversary Ryuken? Nope. Definitely not. Almost want to end the video just because of what you just said. I think the characters could be Zoro. It could be. Even though he's not on the list, you never know. He might end up somehow as an anniversary character. Yuha Aizen, Part 2, Kenpachi, Grimmjow, Tsukishima, and Ginjo. So the main theme he has is Ichigo's past villains. Maybe? I mean, I'd be down for that. It'd be weird, but I'd be down. I wouldn't say no to it. Then it says, I was hoping for a what if Ichigo as a Quincy villain, but I know we aren't getting another Ichigo because we just got Mugetsu. So my guess is a very powerful Kenpachi or Yuha. If it's for whatever reason Toshu is out of form, I'm going to be going for 5-5 and posting the video on the channel. I'll be watching if it is Toshu. I don't think it will be, but I'm sure and I'm ready. A lot of us are going to be surprised when the trailer does get revealed, like the actual reveal itself. Big Chungus is saying, I'm sure it's Rukia because the whole trailer has a frosty vibe to it. Again, not really due to ice powers, that's just with the way the Vandenreich city looks, right? But the only reason I think it's not Rukia, because look at the end, it's cracked, right? But that's not the only reason I think it's Rukia, because look at the end, it's cracked, right? Like Rukia's skin when she used her Bankai. Maybe, again, I think it's more so breaking down, punched, like rubble. There was rubble if you look at the trailer. Not so much cracking, but who actually knows? Wonder if we'll ever get a soaking Ichigo version. Maybe in the future if Caleb do want to do more original designs. This lad says, speaking of original designs, I don't want canon characters. I want original designs. That's fair. This lad says, I think it's going to be Shinji and Kenpachi. The slashes at the beginning might be his Bankai making the Quincy's attack each other. Potentially. And the last thing is Kenpachi when he jumps back up after saving Yachiru. Either way, if it's not Yuha, they missed the perfect opportunity to cement this anniversary character as the best there ever will be. That's true, but at the same time, to be fair, because I think Yuha could work now or next year, right? Of course, the whole 9 theme would have been super, super perfect. But in disregarding the whole poem theme, the 10th anniversary is the biggest anniversary a game can celebrate. That and the first anniversary, right? Because not many games can even get 5 years, but 10 years is crazy. Not many games will ever get to double digits, right? And celebrating that big, massive anniversary with an anniversary Yuha would, I think, be maybe best case scenario. If they weren't going to do it at a Yuha this year. But at the same time, by the time we get to the 10th anniversary, right, who knows what characters we are going to be getting at the time, because the thing with Yuha right now, which might be for why Yuha isn't getting a character this year, is because he already has like a really good character in the game. And he got that character 6 months ago. But to be fair, Yuha to me works as an anniversary character right now or next year. Because 10th year anniversary is a very big day for any gacha game, especially Brave Souls. Armad is saying Bankai Rukia and also Byakuya. Kenpachi and Yuha. Kenpachi. ADHD is saying this reminds me of the scene where Sergeant is fighting Bambiette with his Tengen Myoko. Some of the splashes have explosions and some do not. The cracks in the ground could be also when, Tengen does actually appear. Maybe. We have Rukia, Don Kanoji, and Imo Yama. Who's Imo Yama? English. Let's not. It's Natsuro, Maybe who actually knows? Kawaii Gamer says, I think it could be either Kenpachi, Rukia, Mayuri, Shinji, Renji, or a game original Yuha. Maybe even Gremmy and Giselle. Maybe even Oryu and Yukam. Let's see what they have to say for each individual character, right? So first up, Rukia, the ice, blue slashes. Kenpachi, the slashes, seen and changed similar to his fight with Gremmy / the cracks. Mayuri, Bambietta's bombs, eyes, blue slashes, zombie Toshiro. Shinji, Bambietta's bombs. Renji would fit with Rukia, zombie Toshiro, the ice. Blue slashes that hint towards him, but I don't think that he'd get another unit before Giselle and also zombie Bambietta. I also agree with that. Game original Yuha would fit the 9th anniversary. Likewise with the pattern, 3rd and 6th being villains, 1 character, etc. Maybe there is a pattern, but again, even though on the 9th anniversary, it's still way too early to tell. Giselle, because of Bambietta's bombs, the ice blue slashes. The destruction itself could be hinting at a scene where she fought against Mayuri. Gremmy, the scene changed, and the cracks, lot hints with Kenpachi. Both of their names are also in the list too. Oryu would fit with Yuha. Blue explosions could be his arrows. Yugrim would fit with Yuha. And in Bambietta, we can potentially see her bombs, but again, she is getting a character at the end of the month. This is your first BBS anniversary, though. I'm excited. Hoping for a game original Yugrim, Giselle for part 1 and then part 2 Storpers. Hope you have a good anniversary, though. Make sure you watch the Bankai live stream, because that's definitely going to be a fun time when that does happen. We don't have an official date just yet, but that will be happening in around 25, 30 days. It normally happens around this time next month, a few days before the anniversary, around the 19th, 20th. Renji and Master Masculine, I was thinking Yuha, but I think it's Kenpachi and Gremmy. This is about the ice. It's regular. All the Quincy buildings are icy, so it doesn't hint at Toshiro or Rukia, I agree. I think it's Zaraki because the Earth Kraken, reference to Zaraki and Gremmy fight. Also, the title for the 9th anniversary is cracked in the end, and I think it also hints at Zaraki because he's known for destruction and cutting things. That could be true. So I'll say Gremmy and Kenpachi. It might also be multiple characters, and in this case, I would say Shinji is in there, because the white-blue slashes might be Quincy arrows, and it's followed by some explosions, so I don't think it's a sword slash. This might hint at Shinji's Bankai. Anyway, I'm excited for the 9th anniversary, despite no possibility of Esnot, but he can make it for round 2. I agree. I would think it's, again, would be an absolute waste, more so than an anniversary Yuha, if Esnot and Rukia are not in part 1 or part 2. Most likely part 2. It's either Zaraki or Yuha. We have blue slashes like Yuha's Ryatsu, and the piano that played during Zaraki and Gremmy. I mean, to be fair, the OST in this trailer is a violin theme, not more so a piano, so I don't think that's entirely the case, but you never know. I don't feel confident, but based purely on the trailer, I feel like it's Rukia and Kenpachi. Fair enough. Nuno says, not gonna lie, if the character is not Yuha, they have fumbled. They can't have the 9th anniversary without Yuha, the guy that has a poem based on the number 9. I would agree to fumble. I wouldn't be that annoyed by it, but I agree it's a bit of a, not a fumble, but a wasted opportunity. If it's somehow not him, a banner called Sacrifices with Kenpachi, Yatsu is gone, Human Komamura would fit, and they'll save Rukia for, they are not saving Rukia for 10th anniversary. I'll tell that right now. They are not saving Rukia for 10th anniversary. By the time we get Core 3, which should still be happening this year, most likely in September, we're probably going to get our first set of Core 3 banners right before the 10th anniversary. Because again, for those that are unaware, with KDAB's release schedule, when they're developing characters, they plan 6 months in advance. And since they are making these anime characters based on the anime visuals, they have to wait for the anime scenes to be done. And these anime scenes are not done until right when the episodes are about to air, right? And that's why we had Core 2 characters officially started with Sangdu and Tosha with the red backgrounds, and we started to get more Core 2 banners since then. That started around 6 months, almost exactly when Core 2 ended. So by the time we get to the 10th anniversary, we should be starting, maybe have already started getting Core 3 characters. So Bankai Rukia is definitely not being saved for the 10th anniversary. She would have been long done by the time we get to 10th Annie. Rhett is saying Yuha, basting against Ichigo, black and white slashes, Rukia, cold, destroying everything around her, causing cracks, maybe. This year, there's a very wide range of characters, so I will say the wildest prediction, it being Zombie Toshiro. It is weird, to be fair, like, at the same time, like, there is kind of a larger list of characters that could be this year's anniversary character, but, like, the list KDAB gave us is probably the smallest list of names we've ever received. And that, in a way, maybe is due to the fact that the trailer that we did get is quite vague and maybe quite open on who it could be. Kirito is saying Kenpachi. It is basically the same stage that Gremmy set for Kenpachi in episode 7. It's a tad bit different, to be fair, but I kind of agree. And for Yuha, I don't know. We already have an OP Yuha, plus I don't know what skill he's going to have and use for the anniversary. Since we already know he's strong, and based on the anime, I'm not sure what power he's going to use, but if he does become the anniversary character. Again, if they were to do an anniversary Yuha, it would have to be in original form, because there's nothing they could do right now for a Yuha. until we get the almighty version in the anime. A lazy introvert says the OST is from Zaraki and Gremmy. I don't necessarily... I'm going to have to rewatch it, but I don't think the OST is similar to any OST that we hear in Season 2. The groundbreak is when Zaraki comes out of the grind with Yachiru. Don't know about the blast at the beginning and the black and white / blue sword strikes, so probably going to be a 2-character banner, as Caleb won't do 3 for an anniversary. You never know. You never know. And one of them is definitely Kenpachi. Other one may be a surprise or Rukia, but I think there's no sign of Yuha in this trailer. Potentially, right? I kind of agree with that. 2, this may be 1 character original version of Yuha as a moto of 3. Yeah, a lot of people said that. I'll be down for it. Zaraki, maybe Gremmy. For sure, Rukia. Way too many hints towards her in this teaser trailer. Would love to hear your thoughts on what those hints are, because, again, it can go either way. At face value, first half of the trailer gives me Rukia vibes, second half gives me Zaraki vibes. 99% sure it's Kenpachi is definitely one of them. The crack in the ground and the entire backdrop looks like what happened when he fought Gremmy. That's my entire reason. I would also prefer, though, to be honest, Yuha, since the whole 9 thing. Vulcan says, I think it's going to be Toshiro and Busby. Nah, that's not happening. I'm not going to read the rest. That's not happening. There's no way. Again, like, if we are to get a canon anniversary part 1, it has to be something cool. It has to be something hype. And it can't be something that we basically just got 3 months ago. Like, it's just not going to happen. If we were to get a Busby and Toshiro, they shouldn't have given us the Toshiro early this year. Bankai Rukia and Palace Byakuya. Bankai Rukia, maybe Bankai Renji. Uryu, Yuha, and a Curveball Mask. Remember, Mask is not in the list of names. Another Ichigo more overpowered. Don't expect to get Ichigo this year. Iban. If Caleb is still on pattern, it should be Yuha, because every 3 years, always 1 character for part 1. Again, I think it's too early to set out a pattern for sure, but maybe. But yeah, the teaser does say something different, especially with the ground breaking. Battle damage for bring Bankai Ichigo from his fight with Yuha. I doubt it, since that's from Core 1. This is a Core 2 banner. I think it's Yuha, and I hope it's an original design. If not, I hope it's Rukia with an original design. Eric is saying, I think it should be Yama because of his poem with number... I think you mean Yuha, right? I first thought it could be a Season 1, where Ichigo fought Yuha, but since it should be Season 2, I cannot say. I just don't really see Gremmy as an anniversary character, at least from what we had until now. It's always huge characters, and I would agree with Kenpachi, but not Gremmy, as he's nowhere near as popular as some of the other characters. I also agree with that. It would make sense, at least to me, if they would come during the second part of the anniversary. However, if it's only 1 character, I would say Zaraki based on the trailer. Even though I believe it would be Zaraki, the trailer doesn't even make sense, because everything is pointing towards Zaraki. It's just way too obvious for me. So that's why I don't believe it's Zaraki. One of the reasons why I want to say it's not Kenpachi, because I feel like it's too obvious. Caleb have usually been quite cryptic with every anniversary trailer, and to a certain extent, maybe this is the case. But again, maybe they are just literally telling us it's Kenpachi right from the get-go. It's random out of... No, it's not definitely going to be a Stark. 100% going to be a swimsuit Kenpachi or swimsuit Yuha. It's either Tatafro's Esnot or Bankai Rukia. Again, remember, Esnot's not part of the list. Soriba's part 1. Sturmritter's part 2. I hope it's Yama, the head captain, deserves an anniversary character. To be fair, though, we all joke that every year, and to be fair, it has happened. We get an anniversary Ichigo, but likewise, for thus far, we've had 8th anniversaries. 4 out of the 8, Yamamoto has been in part 2. So, you know, while I don't think Yamamoto is ever going to get an anniversary character in part 1, he's been part of the anniversary more often than not. It's like he hasn't been shafted too bad in terms of new characters. He always gets a good character every year. And we're bound to eventually get a Bankai Yamamoto, right? Maybe not for the anniversary, though. This lad says it's definitely Yuha, but I don't know about the other character. I'm getting older, 9 years already. Yes, can you believe it? 9 years. That's absolutely insane. Honestly, I have no idea this year. My guess, Kenpachi Rukia, Ruki Kenpachi, Muscle Kon. Give us Yuha vs Ichigo, Yama vs Yuha, Ruki and Esnot, Charlotte. Okay. Could be Shinji, Kenpachi, Sergeant. Could. I would hope that it's Bankai Shinji as one of the parts in the anime. It's not even that far of a cope. It's not even that far of a stretch. Like, it generally could be Shinji. Maybe. Rukia has not been an anniversary yet. She is a female lead, right? She is. Also wouldn't mind if it was Renji with her. But both of these could be the 3 units they release alongside the second half with an Ichigo. I can see that happening. That was actually one of my main guesses for the second part of the anniversary at one point. But I don't see us getting another Ichigo, right? Alejandro says, Rukia for part 1 with Kenpachi, but everything in the trailer shows the ground shattered. Same goes the Hollow 9th anniversary text, so I must say Aizen. Okay. If Caleb are doing a villain every 3 years, their guess is Yuha, if not Kenpachi, Gremmy, or maybe a Rukia. My call is that it's going to be a 2-character banner with the first part hinting at Rukia and Esnot. Again, that's not happening. At least not Esnot. If not, Ichigo versus the Bambis. Because we can still have 2 Ichigos for an anniversary, and the second part could be Kenpachi, Gremmy. I've seen a few people say Ichigo versus the Bambis, but that's just not going to happen, right? It's just not, let's be honest. We've already gotten 2 true Shikai Ichigos, right? What more could we get out of another Ichigo from the fight with Bambietta, or more so, Candice and Little Totu and Meninya? Meninya from that fight's already gotten a character. Eventually, maybe in the future, if a long enough time does pass, we could maybe get Ichigo with the Soul Palace outfit on, and that would feel a tad bit different, but I do not want to see another true Shikai Ichigo for like the next year or two, until we get like Horn of Salvation and stuff. Kevin says, Yuha Part 1. Part 2, Rukia vs. Esnot, Kenny vs. Gremmy, Kenny, Tosho, Byakuya from the... That's not happening, remember, we're getting anime characters only, no manga stuff as of yet right now. 6 passes, well, if it is Core 2, then Kenny. But Kenny vs. Gremmy, really for Annie. I mean, the only would sell if they do original designs. I agree with that. I think Kenpachi as a canon character with some other hype characters can sell, but Kenpachi and Gremmy have to be originals. But I think it could be a Core 1 Yama vs. Yuha because of how destructive the battle was. I think the ground blown up could be when Yuha blows up Yama. Again, probably not because it's Core 2, right? It'll be quite ridiculous for KR to be hinting at that. But I'm going to be honest, Core 2 fights aren't that hype enough to be Annie unless they do it. Really? Really, bro? When we were getting Core 1 characters, the only thing people wanted for 1000 G Blood was Core 2. And now we're getting Core 2 and it's not hype enough? I don't know. And I disagree. I think Core 2 hypes are very, very exciting. I mean, Kenpachi vs. Gremmy was exciting. Not enough for an anniversary, granted. But again, I don't think Part 1 of the anniversary should be a fight. It should be a theme. And I wouldn't mind us getting characters like Kenpachi, Rukia, Renji, Shinji, Sergeant all together in one banner. Not 5 of them, obviously. But I'd rather a theme of canon characters than more so just 2 characters fighting for the sake of it. Also note, after every canon anniversary, we then get an original. Like second Annie is canon, I wouldn't necessarily say second was canon, to be fair. I would say second was more so on the original design, but I do understand we do see a brief moment where Ichigo does look like that, but I wouldn't say second was canon. Third anniversary was original, 4th was original, 5th was original. I know 6th and 7th were originals, but you kind of get the point. I think it's a bit of a stretch there, lad, I'm not gonna lie. The only pattern we have thus far, which again is way too early to say, is every 3 years we get a villain, 1 character Annie banner, and then every 4 years we get a canon banner. That's like the only pattern we have right now, but again, it's still way too early to say that's set in stone. Rukia and Kenpachi, Ishida, there were arrows in the trailer. That would be him. Mairi and Giselle, maybe zombies. Zombie Toshiro, probably not. Love for a Giselle, but probably not right now. I'm kind of torn between 3 characters, Yuha, Rukia, and Kenpachi. The trailer seems very similar to the 8th anniversary that had most of the action be White clashing with Ishin, but the title had a goat slash cross for Ichigo. Kenpachi and Rukia would be very good fits for the main fighting in the whole trailer, while Rukia and Yuha would be very good fit because, the title breaks. There is a white flash, so it could be Rukia, but I think more Almighty. And we do have over 8 months since the Almighty Yuha anime design was shown. To be fair, though, that was shown in like a trailer. I don't think that really counts. So I don't think if we were to get a Yuha for an anniversary, it would be a canon Almighty form. Again, it would have to be original. Sam says Kenpachi or Rukia are probably going to save Yuha for the 10th anniversary. That seems to be the case. That's even what Morita again thinks. After watching the trailer, my mind instantly went to Yamamoto and the Yuha fight. But then a lot of people made some decent arguments for it being Kenpachi, Gremmy, and also Rukia. This is probably insane co-op right now, but my guess is an original design Yamamoto and Yuha with canon Rukia and Kenpachi for part 2. I'm not going to lie, I'm very surprised the amount of people that are saying Yamamoto's not in Core 2. Like, the trailer is clearly showing a Core 2 fight. Even if it was potentially implying like original designs, there's no way anything in that trailer is hinting at Yamamoto and Yuha like fighting together, right? If it was a more abstract background and we didn't see the red sky, you could maybe make that case, but with the background being red, that instantly just like deconfirms Yamamoto being this year's character. Hopefully you are for round 1, Kenpachi for round 2, Kenny round 1, part 2 Rukia, huge Kenny fan. Please don't be Kenny, okay. Kenpachi and Gremmy, round 2, Byakuya, Esno, and Rukia. I'll be down for that as a round 2. The teaser means nothing to me. Number 9 is Yuha's number, but seriously, probably Bernice, there's no way. Whatever it is, it's a new Ichigo, most likely not. This lad says it definitely should not be Yuha. So we have someone going against the crowd. I'm down for it. Let me see what I have to say. We just got an OP Yuha from a few months ago, and he's still kind of debatably the best character in the game. Of all the characters in this list, the only one that makes sense here is Kenpachi and Gremmy. The groundbreaking is basically 1-to-1 with the anime, and the blue lights, that might be Zaraki slashes. I mean, Gremmy vs Kenpachi is one of the bigger fights from Core 2, plus they can bring back the transformation mechanic like 1000 Yubadwa Adult Ruki, or even the transforming Shikai to Bankai that we got a while ago. To be fair though, what character would be transforming between Gremmy and also Zaraki if we were to get those 2 characters, right? Kenpachi, I best not see have his default Zanpakuto. I want to see that character outright be in Shikai, right? I do not want Kenpachi to be a transforming character. Likewise with Gremmy, he doesn't really do anything that can transform, so we're probably not going to get a transforming character this year if it was those two characters. Abyssal says Soifon and BG9. Well, BG9 is not in the list, so it can't be him. The game still hasn't gotten a Yamato Bankai from Bleach 2023 yet, and based on the ground cracking, it could be a reference from the battle. It's not, because again, it's the Red Sky. But again, I do want a Bankai Yamamoto eventually. Probably Bankai Rukia, or only in her Bankai. It's not Yuha Almighty. We just recently got one, and it doesn't fit for him to be a premium character either. To be fair, I mean, we are probably going to get an anniversary Yuha eventually, whether it's this year or next year. Most likely next year now at this point. And they will be premium, right? And as well, when the time does come, when the 9th anniversary characters do get released, I know I'm going to get asked a lot. They're going to be premium characters, right? We saw last year, 8th anniversary White and Ichigo were premium. If we get 1000 Year Blood canon characters again this year, they're premium, right? It's the standard now. We don't have to ask questions. Every year, Part 1 Annie are premium, even if they are 1000 Year Blood War. Sarah's saying Okiura. I don't think Okiura's even on the list, right? Just want a new Kisuke. It's been so long it has. I don't think we're getting a Kisuke anytime soon, unless it's a mid-month. I was certain it would be Yuha, but now after seeing the trailer, there's only 3 fights that come to mind. Sajin vs Bambietta, Kenpachi vs Gremmy, and Rukia vs Esno. The music in the trailer seems to start off with someone full of hope or determination like Rukia or Sajin, which then I think the music will switch to something befitting of the second characters. One more thing is the way the 9th anniversary logo shatters, which looks very similar to how, which we did mention earlier, it does look similar to how Sajin's Bankai armor does shatter. It does, it really does. Perhaps the new anniversary character will have original designs that give us new Quincy's like Volstanigs, and the Bankais the Quincy style fused together. That would be cool. This lad says Kenpachi. This lad says I don't think it's going to be Kenpachi for a few reasons. I'm ready to hear you out. The streams of light crossing back and forth look more like projectiles being shot around as opposed to clashes of swords. Kenpachi doesn't shoot any projectiles, neither does Gremmy. Also, sure, the ground cracks and split open, but so does the 9th anniversary logo. If it's possible, Kenny and Gremmy, why would they be putting so much emphasis on that one specific part of the fight, where the ground splits? That's also true, to be fair. Like, again, if you were gonna, if you asked me before watching this trailer to think of a scene of Kenpachi and Gremmy, I wouldn't have thought the ground splitting up. So now that I've read this, maybe it's not Kenpachi. That'll be probably the biggest surprise of the entire year if it doesn't end up being Kenpachi. Because yeah, that is an oddly specific part, right? Why would they have chosen that part out of all characters? And again, if it is talking about Kenpachi, why isn't it attack that Gremmy does? Why wouldn't have they done something more so that Kenpachi does? Continuing on though, so much so that it would inspire Caleb to also put cracks and fracture on the word's 9th anniversary as if it's a big highlight of the fight, or if it would make a good hint. I think we should mostly be looking into the reason why the 9th anniversary logo is cracked and all fractured. That has to mean something, and I don't believe it ties to Kenpachi. I like this route. I actually do like this. I now that I've read this, maybe it's not Kenpachi. Maybe it's not, because I kind of do agree with that. Aaroniero says, sorry Buzz, most likely for part 1, Rukia, Renji, Byakuya. I think Sajin vs Bambietta, Shinji, imagine Bankai Zaraki, Kenpachi, Syntheris, Quincy, Reishi, I think Yuha. If you look at the pattern, we kind of went over this every 3 years, anniversary villain, for example. Again, this 3 works if we disregard the teaser trailer, right? Which obviously we shouldn't be doing. Original character Soking Yuha, Rukia's Jew, she is. Bankai, Ruki, and Shikai Kenpachi for part 1, Esno and Gremmy for part 2. I wouldn't want that for part 2. Throw in a 3rd character. I do not want 4 characters released for the anniversary. I am betting my money on Kenpachi. Ken and Shao Yachiru, maybe Kenpachi and Gremmy. I think the theme might be the Shinigamis that found their true nature, like Komamura, Kenpachi, Renji, or Rukia, but in my opinion, it's most likely Komamura, in this case Sajin, right? Because the first half, many of the explosion looks like it's Bambietta's explosion. And then Kenpachi because the second part looks like, you know, when the floor broke up, right? Although, they would probably sneak in Rukia and Renji because 1000 Year Blood War, Komamura, and Kenpachi wouldn't be as exciting of an anniversary character if it's just 2 of them. Mr. Blue Pants says, I think it's either going to be Kenpachi, Rukia, Renji, Rukia or Renji, or Kenpachi and Gremmy. But either way, there should be a second round of anniversary, which also will feature 1000 Year Blood War units. So if Rukia and Esno aren't in round 1, I suspect they will be in round 2, maybe Renji and Mask. I'm still waiting for Fullbring, 1000 Year Blood War, Bankai Ichigo, and the anime. Yes, I am there with you, right? These 2 characters, I don't think are getting characters this month in the anniversary, but I am eagerly looking forward to a Bankai, 1000 Year Blood War, Fullbring Ichigo, and then also a Bankai Yamamoto with the anime visuals, the red flames. It's going to look so good. It's going to look so good. In this case, Rukia, Kenpachi, oh, Mighty, you are Hornet. This That would be fire, but again, we're getting anime characters, right? Original form Yuha. I'm just hoping it's the original form. 100 Ichigo. Okay. Don't think so. I believe it's either Rukia and Kenpachi. My voice is starting to crack now, but speaking a lot. And the backdrop doesn't fit Kenpachi and Gremmy, so I think it more so fits Rukia than Kenpachi. However, the slash will represent Kenny more than anything. That's why I think it seems to be both of them. Okay. Here we have, I think everyone is going about the wrong way with this scene. The Kraken floor is reminiscent from the Yuha fight against Ichigo at the end of Core 1. Option 1 is another Yuha against another Dangai Ichigo. Option 2, the Kraken Fall represents the collapse of a new world, and we could have a what-if scenario. What if Ichigo was the bad guy as a Stamritter, and we get Yuha fight that? I mean, Yuha fighting with Zangetsu would be kind of crazy, I'm not gonna lie. Anime Banka Rukia, since there is frost on the ground, or an original version of Yuha. I disregard Esnot because there is a Quincy explosion, which he doesn't use. At the same time, remember, Esnot's not on the list. It's Kenpachi and Gremmy, or Yuha. I don't think Ruki deserves to be any character unless they put Volslang Esnot along with her. Again, I've always been saying if they were to do an anniversary Rukia, she could be paired with Esnot. Likewise, she also could be paired with Renji. That would also work relatively well, in my opinion. I've been waiting years and years for an anniversary Kenpachi, my beloved, but now I am too hyped for his majesty. It's too perfect to be skipped, and I think even Caleb had his legend about the number 9 mentioned in the character information. The idea of it being his majesty, watching fights, then jump, cut into the new original design is something I'm hopeful for, and that generally could be the case. Otherwise, Kenpachi and Rukia are my less favorable picks. Kenpachi, Rukia, Esnot, the place looks very similar to when Rukia and Esnot fought. To be fair though, we can make the case for every fight that happens in Core 2. They all fight in like the same area, right? And the crack in the ground is from the Kenpachi and Gremmy fight, so my prediction is Bankai Rukia, Shika Kenpachi, Hollow Kon. If it's not Rukia or you, I'll be disappointed. Some random stuff I feel like is purposely misleading. It could be Kenpachi Gremmy fight, but I don't think that fits part 1. Maybe seconds. My pick is the best perfect pick. Original Yuha for 9th Anniversary just makes sense. And since we had a powerful SP Yuha, maybe they could bring back the NAD meta with a broken NAD Anniversary Yuha. Somehow, or a broken SP. I would rather him still be an SP character, I'm gonna be honest. But listen, I'm not opposed to a broken NAD character to the likes of, 1000 Yubadwa Aizen. Zaraki Gremmy, Rukia Esnot, Stamrit, Ichigo. How many comments do we have left? We've gone so long. Original design Yuha for part 1, Kenny Gremmy part 2. Remember, the trailer that we do get here doesn't hint at part 2. And I don't see part 2 being a 2-character banner, truthfully. I guess they could fit in Yachiru, like little girl Yachiru, but I'm not too sure. Original design Yuan Yama. Honestly, after the 9th anniversary, Candice and Meninja will be my priority. I'm not going to disagree, but I'm not going to agree straight away. I'm going to have to wait and see until I see them in swimsuits, right? Kenny or Kisuke, Kenpachi Rukia, Bambi, Easy, Bankai, Rukia, and Kenny. Zaraki vs. Gremmy repeated characters. I'm going to go with Kenpachi. Also, guys, the post on X has you guessed 1 character. Again, that doesn't mean anything. It's just to stop people from getting a guaranteed entry into this year's anniversary, giveaway. This light I feel like it's Uryu because of those Quincy arrows having a bright blue color. But then again, it's quite generic colors, right? Taking us back to when Uryu was leaving Yuha, firing Licked Rigen at Ichigo. I kind of thought that, but I don't see it. But I definitely could see why it could be Kenpachi. And then finally, we made it to the end, Kenpachi and Rukia. Man, there we go. So, that might have been long enough. As of me recording this, it's been around an hour and 50 minutes, but we don't always get to talk about every single comment. Whenever we do these community reaction videos, I can only cover the top maybe 50 comments, and they usually end up being 20, 30 minutes. But since it's the 9th anniversary, and since I just felt like wanting to read every comment, it seems like most people think Kenpachi. That's expected, right? Feel like most people expect Kenpachi. A lot of people still want to see an anniversary Yuha. A lot of people can still see maybe it being Rukia and Renji. Maybe this part 1 anniversary is going to be Rukia, Renji, and Kenpachi. Maybe part 1 is going to be Soripers, part 2 will be Quincy's. Some lads made some interesting phrases on why it might not even be Kenpachi. Maybe we're looking at the wrong things. I definitely am in the case where it's definitely hitting at multiple characters and not just strictly Kenpachi and Gremmy. I just don't see that happening. But the more I read your dad's comments, the more I think that I really don't know what this year's character is going to be. I feel like Kenpachi is too obvious. I feel like it's too obvious. And I feel like this year might be the biggest surprise of all things. Because usually going into an anniversary, and maybe again it's the case for this year, we always narrow down the list to 3 names. We always know what to expect, right? 3rd anniversary, we knew it was Okura. They basically confirmed it. 4th anniversary, we knew there was going to be a new Ichigo. We didn't expect 2 Ichigos, to be fair. 5th anniversary, we knew it was Ichigo and Byakuya. The surprise came with the original designs. 6th anniversary, we all knew it was Aizen, but there was still the possibility it wasn't going to be him. 7th anniversary, I think we knew there was going to be an Ichigo, but it was up in the air whether it was going to be Rukia or Uryu. 8th anniversary, we all were dead set on it being whites. Maybe an Ichigo, maybe an Ishi, and it ended up being Ichigo. This year, I don't know. I feel like it could be Kenpachi. I feel like it still could be Yuha. I feel like it could be Renji, Sajin, Rukia, Shinji. Who actually knows? I just don't expect any Stern Ritters in part 1. I always expect Soripers. The only Stern Ritter / Quincy I can expect in part 1 is again a Yuha. Either way, lads, my voice is absolutely hurting. I think this is going to be the only video I upload today, given how long it actually is. But if you stuck around to the end, I appreciate it. If after listening to all these lads' predictions and theories, if you have a change of theory or prediction, once more, leave in the comments. I'll be definitely reading them. But at this point, I think this is definitely going to be the last time we speak about the 9th anniversary characters on video until we get closer to the actual date, right? We are still just above a month away from the actual reveal and the characters releasing. We have quite a while to go, but at the same time, not too long to go. But lucky for us, in literally less than a week's time, we are going to be still getting 1,000 Yu characters, in this case in swimsuits, right? If you did miss that, Swimsuit Bambietta, Candice, and Menina are getting the end of month character treatment in swimsuits. So that would definitely keep us occupied all the way up until the 9th anniversary. Either way, hope you liked the video. See you guys next time. Take care and peace.